Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And you are the magic maker. This is the Magician card. And I feel like you're somebody who is really focused on your work. Like you're trying to get more knowledge, more wisdom, more data, more skills. Like you've got your goals and you know who you're sort of transforming into. You have a very intentional energy about you right now. Because the Magician is kind of like this magnifying glass, right? You're shining that magnifying glass over the work that you're trying to do, right? What you're trying to accomplish, the goals that you're trying to reach, the dreams that you're trying to manifest. But that magnifying glass also points back at us. So when we're trying to magnify our particular work, it's magnifying us. In other words, it's showing us where we might need to grow a little bit, or develop a little more skill, or work on our potential a little bit more. We're using our tools and our talents and our voice, and that sort of reflects back to us and shows us where we might need to upgrade our tools, our knowledge, and refine our talent or heal our voice, so to speak. So I think that this is your sort of intelligent approach to your life right now. Perception is a tool that's pointed at both ends, Let's put this card into a little bit of context, Cancer. Now, if you're hearing my voice, this reading is meant for you, okay? 3 of Pentacles, even if you're not a Cancer sign, just stick around. 3 of Cups, look at that beauty. A 10 of Pentacles, absolutely, because that's the goal. That's the high-definition dream that you're trying to manifest. And the Sun, there is that clarity, there is that full potential, that is the development. And the 3 of Wands, 3, 3, 3. Wow, that's a beauty. That is a beauty. We have the 2 of Cups even now. We have the Death card, slow, gradual change over the course of time. We have the Pressure Cooker of the Temperance card. And finally, the 4, all these 3s, and then we get a 4 because your heart and your will and your body are all working together. I was going to say the heart, the mind as well, but we don't have any swords cards here because I think really the Magician sort of represents the mind. It represents the focus of that mind, the mind being that sort of two-way mirror, I guess, or whatever it's called, where we can see through, into what we're doing and we can see outward, but then we also get that reflection back where we're able to see ourselves. It's what Gurdjieff used to call self-remembering. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with our little octopus friend, the 8 of Tentacles. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment you feel like you might know what that card might be, put a prediction or a hunch or a guess down in the comments below. Okay? And I just want to say how grateful I am that you're here and that you're watching these videos in a world where everything seems kind of crazy, everything seems chaotic out there. We don't even know what's real and what's not anymore. People feel like they're getting more disconnected from each other. I'm happy that you're here connecting with me and that we are communing together as a family. So welcome, and I hope that you'll continue coming back. So let's look around the room here. we see some really good stuff. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana cards. Even the death card is a great card. Because to me, it's showing that there is an evolution taking place in your life right now. And I feel like this might even be really the moment where a lot of things start to kind of tie together and come together into a really big way for you. We're in this pressure cooker of transformation where we are becoming something new and our life outside is becoming something new. Okay, and it's all being directed by your magician, your intentionality. Okay, we've got obviously fire and fire, water and water, no air, and then we've got earth and earth. Okay, so 2, 2, and 2, and the 4 majors. This is really, really excellent. So we'll start with the magician here, and this is your current situation, right? You have your intention, you're pouring your energy, pointing your energy into that. You're involved in the project or the move or the work. You're doing the work. Okay? And you're using those tools that you have. You're using them on purpose. Okay? And this is just popping into my head. Have you been like replaying a certain conversation in your mind? Spirit saying that there's something that's been kind of like, something that you've been like replaying, something that you've been kind of reliving. And I don't know if it was like a mistake that you had made or a conversation that you had. Sometimes we put our foot in our mouth, you know. Or if it's something that you didn't perform as well as you thought you did, and now there's this kind of like we've been replaying that event or that conversation. And I feel like that's kind of what I mean by that perception being pointed back at us too, where what we're doing in the world is really giving us that acute awareness of where I need to do better, where I need to grow, where there are gaps in my knowledge, you know. Gaps in my skill set, or things that I need to, it's like you go and you try to do jujitsu a couple of times, and you realize, there are a lot of things I don't know how to do. Well, that's good, because I'm going to keep going back, and we're going to keep getting better. Now, my wife and I, we're on like I think it's probably our 3rd week of jujitsu now, and I'm acutely aware of where I'm lacking in my life, but it's a good thing. Because it gives us, more. It gives us a very big, obvious clue about where to focus our energy. Okay. I feel like you're very aware of your potential, and I think that you tend to say what you mean. You tend to be very direct. Okay, and I think that you're taking action. You're being visible. You're putting yourself out there, and you've already made that declaration. You said, I'm doing this. Okay? And your thoughts, your words, and your deeds are all lined up, and you are the magician. You are the magic maker. I want you to claim that in the comments right now and tell me that you're the magic maker. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. If this is at work, at home, at school, if it's a personal project, personal development, spiritual work, if this is creative work, if you're a musician, if you're a comedian, if you're a stage performer, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're trying to raise a family, trying to raise a garden, trying to raise a barn. Whatever your work is right now, this is the magician. You're making magic. You're making it real. You're doing it, right? So what's the problem? I don't think there is necessarily a problem here. I think if there is any kind of problem, it's just that you've been working and working and working, and it's been slow progress, perhaps, with that. The death card there is the one thing. If we had to look at this reading and say, well, what's the problem? You're doing all this great work. You know what your goals are, and everything's pretty much fine, right? So what's the problem? Well, it might be that it's really just been challenging, grueling, difficult work, and it's been slow to evolve, slow to change, slow to develop into, slow to finish. Okay? And so it may be that you're getting a little bit uncomfortable being in the pressure cooker all the time. Yeah. But you're going to continue to work. The 3 of Pentacles here is your effort. You are constructing something. You're using your skill, and it might be a good time for you to think about collaborating, or not necessarily collaborating, but what information or what skill or what tool can you collaborate with? When I say collaboration, basically the 3 and another 3 making a 6, right? I'm not saying that we have to go out and find like, a partner. We have to go out and find like a business partner or somebody that can do half the work with us, No, maybe this is just you're doing your thing. When I say collaboration, I'm saying, is there like a book that you need to get? You can collaborate with some other information, some other concepts. The same way that you might come here and it feels like we're collaborating. Okay? I'm not doing the work for you. I don't even know you, right? But to me, it feels like a collaboration. Or is there an upgrade? Is there a new tool that you need? How can we improve the work that we're doing? What do we need to collaborate with? It could be a new concept, a new skill, a new tool. It could be a book. It could be a new sort of like a podcast on YouTube or something, right? And you're trying, let's say you have some financial goals, right? The magician is really good at financial goals, kind of pulling financial rabbits out of debt hats, right? There are a few personalities or concepts or things of that nature that you could collaborate with in order to get the perspective or the skills or the additional knowledge or just food for thought. Okay, that may help you with and if anybody needs any kind of recommendations, well, I'm full of ideas. Anyway, this is not necessarily collaboration with people, but it could be. This is about improving our skill through conscious practice and repetition, breaking big tasks into smaller ones, and trying not really to worry about the future so much, but just think, what stage am I in now? Where am I now, and what needs to be done now? Okay. Of course, this is physical stuff, so this is literally like your body staying healthy and staying in alignment. Fuel, rest, posture. Okay, the tripod of work. You got to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. You've been very consistent, and I think there's been a repetition. And I think it's felt like this has been just going on and on and on for a long time. You're shaping the world. You're shaping yourself. The magician is changing shape every day. Every minute you spend doing this work, you're changing. You're growing. You're pliable. You are the hot metal down on the blacksmith's anvil, getting hammered by life, doing the work, right? And you're changing shape. And that is also reflected back out into the world, external to you. And that's why the death card is in the environment, because you are slowly but surely changing the environment, changing your life. Don't call me Shirley. So the Three of Pentacles is that willingness to just get down and dirty and do the work. Okay, the repeated intentional action is shaping you and shaping the world around you. Keep hammering at it. Okay, your craft is strengthening. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're getting better at it every moment. Yeah, and I feel like this is your focus on that kind of quality work. You're looking to get better at what you do, which means that you're changing shape. The magician is changing shape in order to more effectively change the world into whatever you want it to look like. Okay? And then down beneath the surface, Three of Cups. This is the inner joy. You've got a lot of love to give, right? This is a card of really feeling warm and fuzzy on the inside. It's an emotional overflow coming from your heart. I feel like you're in this. I feel like you're willing to do all of this unglamorous work. This is Mars in Capricorn, by the way. This is you, like, really just digging your fingernails in, digging your heels in, and climbing that mountain. Okay? Why? Because you love it, right? Because it feels good, because it's a celebration inside of you. It doesn't mean it's always fun. No, it's not always fun. But this is that emotional connection. You're saying yes to this. It feels genuine. You're tired. Yeah. but you're still kind of celebrating the wins. You survived another day of doing this. You made it to the evening, and you can sit down and have a hot meal and take a shower and lie in a warm bed. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like you're feeling that inner soul satisfaction by doing this work that you're doing. Maybe you're a painter. Maybe you're in school. Maybe this is about you going to your 9 to 5 every day. Okay? But there's gratitude there. And I think there is a connection, and I feel like you have a lot of love to give other people too. So I do feel that there's kind of a need for more connection in your life. I feel like you're really starting to feel a little bit more social, and you're starting to feel like, I almost feel like, did somebody reach out to you recently? I feel like, I don't know if it's an old friend or if it's maybe even someone you've never met, or it's just somebody like gave you an invitation, or like, I feel like the social stuff is starting to feel a little bit more tempting to you, you know? And I think it's really important that you do connect with others in a big way, okay? Especially if you've been feeling a little bit isolated or a little bit kind of run down or overworked, treat yourself. You know, if you've been feeling a little isolated, this is a nudge to rejoin the human world and get some connections going. Share your joy, you know? Allow yourself to feel pleasure and connection and restoration and renewal. Give yourself to those good moments, okay? Because there's a world around you that you can connect with. Now, it doesn't always feel that way, right? That's like what I said at the beginning. Like we're living in a world where everybody just seems like we're getting more and more disconnected. You go online and nothing seems real anymore. We don't know what's actually a real person that we're sort of talking to or looking at or listening to. And seek out those things in your life that feel real. And that's what I've always strived to make this channel feel like just a real place where we can come and we can feel like family, and we can just talk and we can listen and we can feel that warm and fuzzy feeling. We can feel safe. We can feel like there's real connection here. Okay? And we can commune. And we can enjoy. And that's what this card is about. It's about communing with others. Spending a moment to make a moment. Spending a moment to make a memory. You know? You're going to remember the hard work. You're going to remember how it felt to climb up the mountain, claw your way up this mountain. I want you to make some memories this week that feel good. Make a memory with another person, you know, commune, even if it's just you maybe. Commune with your pets, your plants, your people. Commune with nature, commune with, other people here in this community. Make a memory this week, okay? And, well, we got the Ten of Pentacles back here. Excellent card. This is the life that you're trying to build. This is your kind of long-term plan. It's kind of like you see the goal, and you know what your long-term, the long arc of your life, the long-term security or the accumulation of your of all this work. You know what you want it to look like. This is your picture of your best life. Okay. And of course, you probably took out a sheet of paper and a pencil and you wrote it down, or you drew a picture. What is this going to look like? Because you have to start with the end. You have to begin at the end. The ending is the beginning. That's what this card shows, right? It's a 10. It's a 1 and a 0. It's a return to the beginning. It's the ending, but it's the beginning. So we have to start with the end in mind. We have to start with the vision. What is this going to look like? Can we see the bubbles in the wallpaper? Can we see the fibers of the shag carpet? Can we see the money green leather sofa? What does your life want to look like? What do you want it to look like? So you're thinking long term. You're thinking that's the savings, that's the family, that's the home, that's the money, that's the business, that's the legacy. This is the number I want to reach. This is how everything is going to look. This is how everything's set up. You've got to have this vision in high def. Okay? And so I feel like you've been thinking about that long-term stability. And now we're just going to be building and reinforcing those systems and those skills, those talents, and that effort, that intentionality that's going to build this. It's going to make this picture a reality. It's like this is the brochure that you'll fold up and you'll put it in your pocket. And it's like that's what you know. And maybe you have that picture or that image or even a handwritten note that you keep, in your bag or your backpack or your purse or your wallet. That kind of is a representative of what that long-term goal is. And if you haven't yet, maybe you should. A little bit of homework this week. Get out a sheet of paper. Get out a pencil. Draw a picture of your best life. Or make a list. What does wealth mean to you? What are your goals? And be as detailed as possible. I want to have this exact number in the bank. I want to live in this place. I want to be doing this with my life. Who are you? Where are you? And what are you doing as the goal for your life right now? We're supposed to start with the goal as detailed as possible. So right now, make this plan or review this plan. The long-term goals, your estate, your investments, your family, your home, your business. Okay? And then continue to take those concrete, intentional actions that will get this to be a reality. And I feel like you've already done that. It might be a good idea to revisit this if you haven't looked at it in a while. Get this picture out from your pocket, unfold it, and look at it and say, yep, that's going to be my life. That's what I'm working toward. Yep. Wealth is not just money. It's health, it's time, it's relationships. It's having time, effort, energy, money, and space. You're creating those things. To have more than enough of these things, of those types of resources. Okay? This is you kind of realizing what kind of ancestor you're going to be to the future generations. It's kind of weird to think about that. Like no matter how old you are, we're going to be an ancestor, someday. Even if you don't have kids, it doesn't matter. We're going to be an ancestor. That's wild. And it's a heavy responsibility too, Wealth here is the accumulation of meaning, responsibility, and care over time. You're building an ecosystem here. Okay? And this is the card of the recent past. So I feel like this is always something that's in the back of your mind because this is that picture of that goal. It's that brochure or that postcard or the drawing, the diagram, or the talisman that you've created and you've put it in your pocket, and that's keeping you going. Okay? So that's beautiful. Now you've got a sun card up here as well, and this is another very beautiful card. And this is in the position of our hopes, I guess, right? And this is success. Very simply. This is clarity, this is warmth, this is freedom. I think you're a very radiant person right now. I feel like there's just a vitality and there's an inherent joy in your heart right now. And it wants to just shine. This is you like smiling, I feel like Spirit's saying like you had like a kind of a fun moment recently where you just kind of like smiled at something small. Like you saw a squirrel with a nut and you just smiled at it. Like it just made you feel like giddy on the inside. What was that? What was that moment? And I don't know maybe it's an animal or something, but I feel like it's just something that you witnessed. Yeah. I think you are a very radiant person. I feel like people really appreciate you more than you know. People appreciate your presence more than they tell you. Know that, okay? Celebrate your progress, even if it feels small right now. I think you like to spend time outdoors. I think that right now in your life you are being drawn more to the social stuff, being drawn more to going outside. Maybe you work indoors, you work in an office, you work in a studio like I do. Take advantage of those moments where you can go outside. Not in the car, not in the grocery store, but outside. Especially if it starts to snow, if it's getting colder where you are, and eventually it's going to snow here, I'm hoping. Or if you're on the southern hemisphere and it's going to start getting hot. Take advantage of that approaching energy, and spend some time communing with nature. And if you can do something with another person outside, go have a picnic, go for a walk, go to the park, take your dog to the park or your cat to the park. I don't know if cats like that or not. I don't think most of them do. But do something like that, okay? I feel like you're a very honest person, and I feel like you're not looking for material possessions in your life necessarily, right? Your goal, because this card, where it is in the spread, this is what's on your mind. This is what you're focused on, this is what you're hoping for, this is what you're aiming toward. It's your conscious goal. And that conscious goal is just joy, is just freedom, It's just like being happy and being free and feeling like you get to just enjoy your friggin' life. To experience joy and freedom, and to have gratitude, and to let your light shine, and to be creative, to be healthy, and to continue shining your light. Yeah, that feels like the conscious goal for you. And that's a beautiful energy. So it's not really about material things, it's about you fulfilling your potential. And I feel like with this card too, it's about you knowing who you are and why you're here, and honoring that, and try to become the best version of yourself. That's why you're in the pressure cooker, the alchemical furnace of transformation, the blacksmith's shop, because you are being transformed into gold. It is alchemy, literal alchemy. Now, with the Three of Wands, the way forward for you, maintain your integrity, maintain your confidence and your self-respect. Act in a way that your future self will admire. Keep doing it. If it feels off, even if it's tempting, if it doesn't feel right, say no. Expand yourself, expand your skills. Send the email, reach out to that other personality or the podcast or the book or the concept or the information. Take the class, apply for the thing, explore, and reach out in a way that's going to expand your skill set and expand your radiance, Yeah. You've been trying to stay true to yourself. Yeah. And it's going to be even more important in the next few days to stay true to yourself. Okay? And very soon you're going to take a small but very important step that is going to really bring you so much closer to your goal. Yeah. You're going to have to trust your instincts here, because you're about to invest your energy in something new. Yeah. And you're going to have to show up. And you're going to have to be principled, and you're going to have to really take it seriously. And it's a small step, but it's one that's going to be really critical to the outcome that you're looking for. Yeah. Your character is being built up because your behaviors are lining up with your values. We have your heart and your body and your will, your spirit are in alignment. This is virtue. This is when your body, heart, and soul, or body, heart, mind, body, soul, spirit are in alignment and they're functioning together. Yeah, you're functioning as one whole integrated solar unit. You are a star that is in perfect alignment with itself. You're doing your true will. And you're moving forward like someone who respects themselves. And the world is adjusting to you. And you are changing the world. And I'd like you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. Okay? Because we're starting out with this Two of Cups as love. And you're someone that's full of love. There is a chemistry here in you. There is this inner union. You are a whole person, an individual. Okay. I feel like this is you wanting to expand in your romantic or platonic or spiritual bonds. You want to deepen that. You have this ability to make somebody else feel as if they're the only person that matters. So you're fully present with people. And I think that you kind of want that reciprocal respect, that mutual love and affection. So it's like when you're doing anything, really, it doesn't even have to be a person, when you're doing the work that you're doing. Because you have a love and a respect for it, you're not distracted. You're doing your work. You're not like listening to the ball game with a little earpiece, You're fully present. You're not on your phone scrolling. You're here doing the thing. You're able to give something your full attention because you love it. You care about it. Yeah. You're fully present. But I feel like there's someone that you might feel energetically connected to right now. I feel like there's some kind of spark, some kind of chemistry going on with you and somebody else. And I think that should be explored more. That should be expanded. That should be embraced. Okay? See, love really is that the meeting of two selves, two entities coming together, willing to be changed by the other. Relationships are alchemy. Okay? Lean into those real, authentic, genuine, mutually respectful, the reciprocating two-way street relationships that you have. Okay? Notice where love already exists in your life and lean into those things. Lean into that more fully. Okay? If there's been any kind of a misunderstanding with someone that you love, fix it. Okay? Let yourself be seen fully as you are. Emotionally. Yeah? Because I feel like it's a really good time for adding that component into your life. I feel like what you're doing in your world right now is you're creating this amazing life, and relationships are a part of it. Love is like maybe the biggest part of it. Okay. Whatever it is you're doing in life, I feel that your connections with your people, your pets, your plants, your people, that's going to be the really big focus for you. Yeah. The Death card. In the environment. The Death card is slow, gradual change over the course of time. Okay? It's transformation. It is slow and steady. It's evolution. It's, to me, not so much an ending and a new beginning, but it's a constant unfolding of something. Yeah. But I do feel like you're kind of ready for a particularly difficult chapter to be over. And I think that there is a cycle that's ready to end. And with the Four of Wands there, it does seem like you're reaching a particular milestone or the completion of something that then is going to lead to you kind of knowing the next step to take, the next small step to take. I feel like this is it's kind of it's the challenging growth. I feel like you've been on it's been a difficult road, but I feel like there's been this sort of joy and this love about it anyway, because I feel like you're doing your true will. And when you're doing your true will, there's an underlying joy and love and delight, even though it's been this slow, gradual unfolding of something, you know? And I think we're kind of like, with that pressure cooker as well, you know, the temperance card, we're kind of ready for, we're ready for a completion. We're ready for a cycle to conclude. And it may be that this is felt like a never-ending process. You know, with the death card, it's kind of like this process of change. This is the fundamental force of the universe, change, right? The nature of nature. But this is slow and gradual. So this is like, here you are doing your intentional work every day, clawing your way up the mountain. But then every time you look up, it looks like the summit is just as far away as it was yesterday. I always think of this card as like we go to the gym every day, and we're lifting weights, and we're running the treadmill, doing the stair-stepper thing. And then we run home, and we look in the mirror, and we think, I look exactly the same way I did yesterday. And so we start to feel like it's not working. You know? We start to feel like I must be doing something wrong because nothing seems to be changing. Because this is that slow, gradual change. It's only when we look at the sort of the larger jumps in time that we see how much things have changed. So with this card, I think it's very important that you look back a week, a month, 6 months, a year, so that you can see how much things have actually changed, and to see how much you have changed over where you were at this time, let's say last year. You're a completely different person than you were a year ago. So it is working, you know, and sometimes we need to focus on things in that way. We need to have that sort of look, right, so we can see. Because when we are just trying to stay in the moment and do this work that's right in front of us and trying to get better every day and trying to improve, focusing on quality, we may start to get discouraged, okay? And since this card is in your environment, I feel as if the work that you are doing is having a slow but very definite effect on your personal reality. Okay? The world around you is going to change slower than how fast you're changing. You may feel like your skills are developing quickly, like you're getting better and better every day, and it's like very recognizable, but it's slow to be reflected into the external world. Okay, and I think that's just seems to be how things work. The change in the environment is slower than the change internally. And I think that's to be expected. Especially with the earth energy, the pentacles transform slower than anything else because the earth is the densest of the elements, and it changes much slower than your heart, your mind, your will, your spirit moves fast. But the earth energy is slow to change, slow to grow, slow to evolve, right? Evolution, right? Takes millions of years, as they say. Billions of years. And even if the Three of Pentacles is you practicing a new skill, let's say you're trying to learn how to play the drums, right? You're practicing every day. And every day you go in and you think, I don't feel like I'm getting better. You are. Look at where you were a year ago. That's why they say you should film yourself doing everything. When I look back at the readings that I did a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's crazy, like the way things have evolved. We may feel like we come in here, we do it, it's the same thing every day. But it's so much different than it was. And I think that if we are doing our work intentionally in the moment, I think the growth and the development and the evolution is going to be the right direction, right? Sometimes this card is saying that you can't control the flow of the river. And you certainly can't stop the river, can't really slow it down. Things are going to change. Things are going to evolve the way they're going to evolve. But through your intentional actions as the magician, what you are doing is you are having an influence over change. You're nudging the river. So whatever this is for you, there's some aspect of it that it's just going to be what it's going to be. There's nothing you can do about it. Sure, yes. Granted. And you can nudge the river because you're the magician. So the alchemist or the magician, we're not trying to go against nature. We're trying to just assist nature in its natural processes. We're trying to just take the river and just make it point in a slightly more optimal direction, and maybe trying to push it a little bit. We're not trying to change the course of the river. You're not trying to change something's natural course. You're trying to optimize what the alchemist does. Takes a natural process in nature, refines it, purifies it, accelerates it. So you can accomplish in a year what nature would have taken 100 years to do. If you do nothing, your life will evolve and change and grow slowly over time into who knows what. But if you have some intentionality, you will be able to, in some degree, choose how your life evolves and how quickly it does, and in sort of which direction. You can nudge the river a little bit. Okay? And so that is, like, if you could play the drums every day, just randomly, and yeah, you'll develop in a certain way. Change will still continue to happen. Evolution will still continue to happen. But think about if you went and you practiced the drums deliberately, with a lesson plan, with a curriculum, with a schedule, a budget, and a blueprint of what you wanted to do, and you did it intentionally every day, with focused, repeatable, measurable intensity, then you know who you're going to be, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, and when you're going to be doing it. You could say, well, okay, if I do it this way, then in a couple years, I'll be just awesome at it, right? So it's important that the magician is here, because the magician is the one who has mastered the art and science of causing change in conformity with will. Okay, and that's what you're doing now. This is every day you're refining this, you're practicing. You're following your will, and you are evolving. Your life is evolving in a way that is very preferred. Okay? Now, we have, of course, the pressure cooker with the temperance card. It's alchemy. It's the refinement. You're kind of like, I think you're more patient than you give yourself credit for, to be honest with you, because this is that pressure cooker, right? This is that, difficult refinement. This is the pressure. This is the heat that is needed to transform. Okay, it's the slow, heated marriage of opposites into a third thing that didn't exist before. Stay with the process. You're being tempered. Okay, this is challenging. It's hot. You're in the kitchen, and you're cooking something. Okay. And I think that maybe you're starting to feel a little bit like tired of this process, that it's getting to be a little bit too much, You're beginning to feel the heat and the pressure, and maybe resting, paying attention to your body, paying attention to those interpersonal connections. Things like that may help you to continue on. It's kind of like, it's almost like our soul just needs a little bit of refreshment so that we can continue in that pressure cooker. Okay? Stay with the process, though, because you are being refined and molded and shaped into who you need to become so that you can continue. See, basically the temperance card changes you change the environment, okay? And then that environment, of course, then kind of returns the favor and becomes the pressure cooker for you that refines you, so that it's this repeating cycle. That's why we have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 everywhere. Everywhere with the threes, right? But now we're moving into the 4. Because the 4 of Wands to me is the completion of a particular cycle. There's a milestone coming for you. There is a celebration of this milestone, this foundation that you're building. And this is the repeating cycle too. We have 3, 3, 3 and a milestone. 3, 3, 3, a milestone. 3, 3, 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Because this is the repeating cycle. This is the loop. We're completing the circuit. Okay? The circuit of magician to death card to temperance card to magician. And we're going around and around and around. And what we're doing is we're forging ourselves as this radiant sun. It's the alchemical process, the nuclear fusion inside of a star. And that star then is able to radiate light and heat and have an influence over the environment. Obviously, the sun really affects us here on Earth, right? And it's because of this sort of alchemical process that's taking place inside of the sun. And then the influence that the sun has on the world itself. You are the sun. Okay, and you're going through this process of refinement and transformation. The 4 is the recognition and the celebration of a win. Even if it's a small win, even if it feels unfinished, it's a step that we've taken, let's celebrate. It's the end of a day, let's celebrate the day. The end of the week, celebrate the week. The end of the month, celebrate the month. The end of the year, celebrate the year. Celebrate every day that goes by as one completion of a cycle. The cycles can be daily, they could be hourly, right? They could be daily, weekly, monthly, yearly cycles. It doesn't mean anything's finished, but it means that you're going through the repetitions. And you're doing so intentionally. And they say that, there's this myth about like 10,000 hours to mastery, right? 10,000 hours, yeah. I mean, that's kind of simplified, I think, because 10,000 hours, I spent 10,000 hours playing the drums, and I'm not that good at it, because I didn't always sit down with an intentional plan of what to practice. Because sometimes I just liked playing and feeling good and having fun with it. Okay? And that's fine. I enjoy every moment. But 10,000 hours of intentional sit-down, focus, lesson plan practice is going to lead you somewhere way different than just 10,000 hours of like just jamming, just having fun, And I think both are needed. We got to do both. You have to find a way to make this process fun and not just the feeling like we're in the fire all the time. This is your practice room. Okay, we got to try to enjoy it as well as do it intentionally so that there is progress. Okay. This is Venus in Aries. This is the love, the inspiration that is fueling your efforts here. Okay. Also, this card is saying that we might need to bring more harmony into our home, into our workspace. Beautify your space. Make it feel good when you enter the room to sit down and do your practices. Organize your practice space, or your laboratory, or your studio, or your desk at work. Okay. Make it feel good to enter the space and do that intentional work. And then outside of that, find a way to refresh your soul by spending time with your pets, plants, people. But you've earned the rest, the pause for the milestone, The milestone of like sun goes down, day's over. I just get to eat some warm food, spend time with my family, and sleep in a warm bed. You've earned that. And we have to make sure that we celebrate each of these completions each of these things. Like you go through the process, I always think of a tea ceremony. You go through that elaborate process of the very intentional movements for the tea ceremony. At the end of it, you get to sit down, you get to drink your tea with your friends, or your family, or your pets, or your plants. You get to commune at the end of it. Don't forget the communion part of it. Okay, otherwise I feel like this process burns us out. Let's look at the mystery card. This reading is going way too long. Way too long. When we have so many good cards, it's hard not to talk about them. So anyway, Empress or Chariot. Probably Chariot. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Three of Cups. See the Three of Cups and the Three of Cups. Collaborating. Yeah, the three and the three coming together in a genuine way to make a moment. And because what is the Six of Cups? Community, but also memory. You know, the Six of Cups is a moment that makes a memory. The three and the three coming together, creating that memory. It's an experience of love. It's an emotionally charged experience that we will remember. And there are other cards that talk about that too. A lot of things will make a memory in our minds, right? This is an emotionally, a positive charged experience that makes a memory. So we've got to make some memories here. Because I think having these emotional and the emotional highs, right, help to really crystallize our experience, especially if you are working to refine something. And in other words, the blacksmith will take the metal from the furnace, bang it around on the anvil, put it back in the fire, put it back on the anvil, bang it around, back in the fire. You know what's missing? That cool bucket of water that actually solidifies everything. So without this joy, the efforts that you've been putting into something aren't going to stick. They're not going to really be, they're going to forget. You know, it's like you're reading the textbook, you're studying. If you don't find some way to emotionally connect to that, you're going to forget all that information. It's not going to stick. It's not going to crystallize and become part of you. You have to find a way to emotionally connect with it. And it being your life or whatever you're doing now. Finding a way to connect an emotion to what you're doing is going to help you to crystallize that and really make it part of you. And that's where the magician really kind of knows magic. You can go through the routine, you can go through the process as many times as you want, 10,000 hours. It's not going to do anything until you find a way to activate and engage your emotions in the work you're doing, or even something adjacent to it. That's the key to magic. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, link in the corner, link down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, Cancer. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.